Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this Heritage Foundation Facebook Live. Today, we're coming to you from the office of our senior legal fellow, Hans von Spakovsky, and we're going to be discussing illegal immigration. Thank you for allowing us into your office today.
Sure. Happy to have you here.
Well, I first want to focus on sanctuary cities because, as I'm sure a lot of you have paid attention to the Kate Steinle case, the illegal immigrant was just he was proven not guilty. So, what are your thoughts on that ruling?
I think that was an outrageous miscarriage of justice. Even if the jury wasn't convinced that it was first-degree murder, which is what the local prosecutor was working for, at the very least they should have found him guilty of manslaughter, which is the lowest murder charge you can do, because there wasn't any question. The evidence made it clear that it was his firing of the gun that killed Kate Steinle. But so I think the jurors have a lot to answer for, but I also think the prosecutor didn't do a very good job, which is no big surprise given that it was the incompetence of the city of San Francisco and their sanctuary policy that led to this guy being on the street in the first place.
Now, and he had also been deported 5 times before this happened. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, he did. And the reason he was on the street was because he was actually in jail in San Francisco on drug charges. San Francisco decided to drop the drug charges, and they refused to honor a detainer warrant that had been sent to them by the federal government saying, before you release this guy, let us know so that we can pick him up and deport him.
Now, they've also said that new charges are going to be coming against him, such as the gun charges and a new immigration. Do you think that any justice is going to be served from this?
Yeah, actually, that's already happened. He's already been indicted, and an arrest warrant has been issued from the federal government on 2 things. One, committing a crime as an illegal alien, and second, being a felon in possession of a gun. He could get up to 10 years for each of those, so hopefully he will spend time in jail.
Well, let's hope so. It's unfortunate. And next, I want to focus on the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program, DACA. Some members of Congress have threatened to block government funding unless Congress provides amnesty to these so-called dreamers. Now, if you could just explain to us what's going on with that and what is DACA?
DACA is the program that Barack Obama put in 2012. Right now, there's about 700,000 beneficiaries under it. It's constantly, I think, wrongly referred to as a program only for childhood arrivals. You know, people who only came here when they were 2 or 3, therefore don't speak the language of their native countries. The demographics show that's actually not correct. You could qualify for DACA as long as you got here before your 16th birthday. There was no requirement for English fluency. And the Department of Homeland Security didn't actually do any background checks or vetting of the people applying. They only did it on a random basis. So the point of that is that they've literally had thousands of DACA beneficiaries who've lost eligibility because of gang membership and convictions for felonies and other things. And also, I've seen an estimate that up to 25% of DACA beneficiaries are functionally illiterate in English. So the idea that it would be a hardship to send many of these people back, folks who came here as teenagers who don't speak English very well, and that's just not right.
Now, focus a little bit more on like the financial burden that places on Americans, because these people are coming here not speaking the language. How does that affect American taxpayers and American business?
It's going to affect us a lot. Only 49% of the DACA beneficiaries actually have a high school education, despite the fact that most of them are adults. When you combine their low education level with their inability to speak English, with their low skill level, what you're guaranteeing is folks who, if you make them citizens, are going to be a big burden when it comes to government benefits, you know, everything from Medicaid to Social Security, eventually welfare, etc. So it's going to cost American taxpayers a lot of money.
Now, why would the Democrats be so behind this? Why are they fighting for this?
Frankly, I think a lot of it has to do with voting and elections. I think they believe that the more illegal aliens they can give amnesty to and make citizens, the more votes they're going to have when they're running for election. The other thing to keep in mind about this is, remember, we have basically chain migration rules in this country. The average naturalized citizen sponsors about 3.5 new aliens coming in. People from Mexico actually sponsor almost 6.5. They're the highest of any group that comes in. So if they provide amnesty to the 700,000 illegal aliens currently getting benefits under DACA, the ultimate number of aliens that will bring in is going to be in the millions, and that's a lot of votes for these Democrats.
Now, in a recent piece you wrote that is on heritage.org, DACA is not what Democrats say it is. Here are the facts. You say that it is premature to even consider any DACA-type bill. What should we be doing instead of that?
Yeah, let me tell you why. In 1986, we agreed to an amnesty bill back then in exchange for supposed border security and enforcement of our immigration laws. Does that sound familiar? What happened was they provided amnesty to about 2.7 million illegal aliens, and then Congress didn't do anything to supply the resources for actual border security and interior enforcement. It also that amnesty attracted a huge number of more illegal aliens. People coming in thinking, well, if the government provided it once, they may do so again, and we want to be there when they do. So within 10 years, there were 5 to 6 million more illegal aliens in the country. So an amnesty will attract more illegal aliens, and frankly, it's unfair to legal immigrants who've followed the rules to come here.
So what should we see in terms of enhancing our border security instead of amnesty?
That's what Congress and the executive branch should concentrate on. So that means everything from enhanced border security, building the wall and other security barriers in places where it's needed, but also interior enforcement. That means doing things like enforcing the federal law that says that if you're an employer, you can't hire an illegal alien. If we actually enforce that provision and illegal aliens had problems finding jobs and earning income, many of them would self-deport.
And I feel like a lot of immigrants in this country who did come here legally, they feel the same way. I mean, could you tell us about the differences really in coming in as a legal immigrant and how this should we be making that system better or
Yes, no, I agree with that. What folks have to understand is that we are very welcoming when it comes to legal immigrants. We take in 1 million legal immigrants a year. That's more than any other country in the world. And I got to tell you, I give a lot of talks about this. And you know who the people are most upset in the audience who come up afterwards to talk to me about the idea of providing amnesty to illegal aliens? It's all legal immigrants, naturalized citizens who say, hey, we followed the rules. Now, I think those rules need to be updated. We need to make it a faster process because right now it takes a very long time to do it. But the answer to that is not hurting legal immigrants by providing amnesty and citizenship to illegal immigrants.
All right. Well, let's hope we see some action from Capitol Hill on this.
I hope so, too.
Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Sure.
And thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Head over to heritage.org to see more from Hans von Spakovsky. And stay tuned on our Facebook page so you'll never miss when we go live.